Just waiting for it to go live on the YouTube. I bet I already am live on YouTube. So if I am, hey, what's up, YouTube? Thanks for checking out this live broadcast if you're here live. And if you are watching on the replay, then thanks for checking this out on the replay. Is it too dark in here? I just saw my video for the first time. Hang on. Hang on. Watch the high production value you get here. I'm going to reach over into my drawer. Big high production value. I'm going to pop open my screen, pop it right here, and then turn on my light. I do the screen because it softens the light just a little bit. Here, pop that thing right open. There we go. That should be a little bit. No, I don't even know. I don't know if that's better at all, actually. That actually might be worse. I don't know what else to do. It's just the way it's lit in here today. It is just the way it's lit in here today. XYTV is here in the house. Thank you for being here. Let me chat that back to you. XYTV, where are you in the world? You show up everywhere on my YouTube. I'm so grateful for you. You're always commenting. You're always interacting. You're here all the time. I'm so grateful for that. Where in the world are you? And what time is it wherever you are? I was just going to mess around with something right now. I was going to mess around to see if we could find a way. If anybody knows, let me know. I want to find a way to do case conversion natively in like Google Apps. So let's open up a Google document, just because that's where I normally am working. All right, ready? I'll share this with you and we'll see. All right, so I just did this and I typed, here is a sentence. So here's my mission, is to figure out how to get this thing into all caps. So I'm going to right click and see format options. No. Formatting. No. I don't see anything on case. Wouldn't that be great if there was something here that said, it'd be incredible if there was something there that just said, convert this to all caps. Format. See you over on YouTube. Somebody on Zoom is now going over to YouTube. All right, what about here? Text. We got, uh-oh, hold on. Format, text, capitalization. There it is. So there it is. So you guys on YouTube, you didn't see this, but before I started the live YouTube broadcast, we were talking about how a lot of times when you're creating social posts or when you're making titles for videos or something, sometimes you want things in title case or uppercase or lowercase, and they're not typed that way, and you don't want to retype it. And I know that seems like such a small thing. So now what would make this, so what we were doing is we were looking at something like Case Converter, which is this website here where you just paste in a sentence and then you can do this like that to get all the different cases. However, just discovered here by going to format, text, capitalization. So that might be faster. It's definitely going to be faster if you do all of your pre-work inside of a Google Doc. So I would imagine other softwares have it as well. I do everything inside of a Google Doc. So that's helpful for me. Now I wish that there was a keyboard shortcut to make that happen, so that I could just highlight it and do a keyboard shortcut. I bet we'll be able to figure that out. See, there's no keyboard shortcut assigned to this. So then I could go to help and maybe keyboard shortcuts and then text formatting. Paragraph formatting. So I'm not seeing anything in here. Let's just go right to text formatting. I'm not seeing anything in here that would allow us to assign a keyboard shortcut to that. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means I'm not finding it right now. But that is cool. That would be very cool to figure that out. So I don't know if you're watching. If you're watching this and you know how to do that, that would be really cool. And if you're watching and you don't know how to do it, I'll report back to you when I figure it out. Let's see. Nah, not even seeing that. Nothing there. Superscripts. So there's no lowercase or uppercase in there. But if it's possible to assign a keyboard shortcut to that. So I'll research that. I'll research that and figure it out. Let's see what kind of questions we got queued up. Let me head back over to YouTube. Welcome aboard, everybody. Thanks for being here. If you're here on the Zoom and you're in the inner circle, I'm grateful that you're here. And I'm just going to head over to YouTube and see who's hanging out on YouTube. Oh, we got some people over there as well. XYTV is from Pakistan. Got a lot of friends over there in Pakistan. Thank you for being here. Super grateful for that. I'll throw up. I'm going to hit a bunch of hearts right now to say thanks for being here from Pakistan. What time is it in Pakistan? Hey Siri, what time is it in Pakistan?
In Islamabad, Pakistan, it's 9:13
All right.
p.m.
So 9 o'clock on a Friday night, you're hanging out here. That is, I'm super grateful for that. Somebody asked what is the meaning of life? I can listen, I can tell you what the meaning of life is. It's not the meaning of life is not an easy answer, but I can tell you the meaning of life. If that's really what you want to know, I will tell you that. The meaning, hey Rukia, you know what's really fascinating to me is that so on Fridays, you guys who are not in any of my programs, who are just watching here on YouTube, on Fridays at noon we do open Q&A, where I open up my Zoom and people come in and ask me questions and I answer those questions. And it's fascinating to me when people you can come in on the Zoom and we interact on the Zoom like I'm doing with some people here, or I get people from the Zoom who go over to YouTube and they're watching on YouTube. The meaning of life is balance. It is true. The meaning of life is truly balance. So listen up. Hey, Rashi. I'm really glad you're here today. Thank you for being here. Rashi, if I could say that to you. If I could say, I would say Apkesehan to you, Rashi. I bet you know what that means. The meaning of life is balance. And if you can, I'll explain this to you in a very short period of time. It won't take me long to explain this at all, but the meaning of life is balance. The meaning of life is understanding that when you perceive something is good, when you perceive something good is happening to you, it would be wise to take a moment and explore where there is something that is perceived as not good is happening to bring you back into balance. And when you perceive something as not good happening to you, it is wise to explore where at that exact moment good things are happening to you to bring you back into balance. The meaning of life is balance. The meaning is and that is how you have unbelievable amounts of control over your life, is when something negative happens to you, you perceive it as negative. I no longer perceive things as being positive or negative. I only perceive balance. If you've ever seen a gimbal is a piece of equipment that you put a camera on and you hold it and it keeps the camera steady. You can trip and fall, but the camera stays steady and balanced. I have implemented that in my brain. So my brain has a built-in gimbal. And when I perceive something as when something happens to me that that other people would perceive as negative, I'm instantly finding all of the positive things going on in my world to balance that out. And you can think of it as a down and an up, right? And so for me, I'm always here in the middle. And I never perceive anything as negative, and I never perceive anything as overly positive. I do perceive positive things with a little bit of positivity, but that's my optimistic nature. So The meaning of life is finding balance. And when something negative happens, immediately, instead of looking at the negative thing, immediately ask yourself, where is there something positive happening to me that's balancing this out? And then when you start to perceive things as being very positive, ask yourself the question, where is there something that is perceived negative that's balancing me out? And once you're able to do that and find the balance in all things, it's then that you stay calm and centered and balanced, and you are able to just move forward with clear, steady intention and inspiration. And you're never too high and you're never too low. You're just in the center, steady as you go. Did I just make that up? Never too high, never too low, just balanced in the center, steady as you go. I think I did just make that up. So the whole point of this is when you're too high, when you're really excited about what's going on with you, you miss things. I mean, it's true. When something perceived as good happens to you, and you're all hyped up and you're all excited and you're popping corks or doing whatever you do, high fives and jumping around, you miss things. You're too busy celebrating and being in a heightened emotional state that you might miss opportunities, or you might miss something that is important. Similarly, when you're too low and you're depressed, you're in an emotionally depressed state, you're going to miss things as well. So it's important to get ourselves out of those states to get back into that balanced state, that central balanced state. Now, I've just admitted to you that I always allow myself to get a little more positive than negative. That's because I have a very optimistic nature. I'm like exceedingly optimistic. I'm always happy. I'm always smiling. I'm always in a good mood. Even on Fridays where sometimes, I come on these things and I yell and I say I'm cranky. I'm really not. I'm always in a good mood and I'm always smiling. And a lot of people observe that about me. They're like, you are always happy. And I really am always happy. So I stay balanced, but I err to the side of happiness, but not that much. I don't get too happy. I don't get too happy about anything, but I definitely don't get bummed out about anything. So the question is, what's the meaning of life? The meaning of life is finding that balance. And if you can successfully find that balance, as I have, and as a lot of people that I work with have, I've got a couple people in my mastermind who I taught how to do that 6 months ago, actually, 5, 6, 7 months ago. All right. How many months ago was October 3rd? That's when we did it. 7 months ago. They still message me every day saying, I use this every day. I use it every day. I changed. And by the way, if you happen to be watching on YouTube and you're curious about what it's like to be in a mastermind with me, then I would love to tell you about it. I won't necessarily let you in, but I can certainly tell you about it. I'm in a phase right now with my groups. I have 2 groups that I satisfy. One is my inner circle, one is my higher level mastermind. But we pick the people who come in. So if you think that you would like to be in a mastermind, then get on a call with me. All you have to do is go to prouty.me. I'll put that in the description somewhere. But if you go to prouty.me, we'll talk about it. And if you're right, then you'll be invited to come in. And if you're not right, I'll let you know what you need to do to be right. Not everybody's right for it. After being in this business for 25 years and running my high-level mastermind for now 4 years, and people are in there that have been in there for 4 years, and now my entry-level mastermind, which is still phenomenal. We're coming up on a 1.5 years for that one. You learn a thing or two about the right kind of people to put in there. You know? like people on YouTube watching now, like Rukia, who's here on YouTube. And I don't want to name all the names on the Zoom because we keep that quiet. But if they're going to publicly say hi, we pick the right people to come into these things so that everyone benefits. So the meaning of life is nothing more complex than when you perceive, and that's important, when you perceive something as being negative, find the positive that balances it out. It's happening right now. When you do that, things can be on fire all around you, and you're just balanced and calm, putting out the fire, staying positive, staying happy. This is going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. I can do this. And when perceived really good things happen to you, you're realizing that somewhere right now, there are negative things going on to bring you back into balance. So you don't get all hyped up, zooming around, distracted, missing things. That's the meaning of life. It's finding that balance point. And then if you're daring and you want to be just a little bit more optimistic, like I am, you just inch it up just a little bit. Just a nudge to the positive. And no matter what happens, you smile and you're happy and you keep moving on. Who wouldn't want to live life like that? Who wouldn't always want to be just a little bit happy, always smiling, no matter what? That's how I live my life. And if you're looking for the meaning of life, then in one word, it's balance. And how to get there, as described. I hope that makes sense. Never too high, never too low. Nice and balanced as we go. I really wonder if I made that up. All right. Give me a second. I'm going to see if there are questions looming around. Even keel, somebody says. Yes, that's exactly right. So I answered this one last week. When we talked about account-based marketing last week. And account-based marketing is the process of picking very specific people that you want to work with and creating a marketing strategy that speaks to those people, right? Creating a marketing strategy that speaks to those people. And so somebody asks if I could talk a little bit more about account-based marketing. So here's how account-based marketing works. You hand select the people that you wish to work with from your connections, from your social circles. If you do B2B, you're picking the companies that you wish to work with. And then you identify a strategy based on those exact people or companies, but generally with companies, it's the people within the companies. This is a very effective way of getting top tier clients, like your best clients, because you're picking who these people are. So when I help companies do this, let me just make sure I'm not missing anything anywhere. When I help companies do this, we use a whole bunch of very sophisticated strategies. For example, and I think I talked about this last week, we could geofence a corporate office and then put ads in front of people within that geofence, and I can customize those ads for that company. So, for example, Starbucks is not a client, but let's use Starbucks as an example. Yesterday, Starbucks announced a 2% globally 2%. They missed their numbers by about 2%. So they didn't hit their anticipated numbers for whatever time period, and they were about 2% down. So if I were marketing to Starbucks and I had a way to help them get to recover that 2% that I knew would work for them, I could geofence their offices where the decision makers are, and I could put ads for any device that's within that geofence. And I could say, I mean, you could really say, hey, Starbucks, are your numbers down? I've got a really cool way of helping you. They'd be blown away to see that. So it's not inexpensive to do that. And so I do that with larger companies. If you're in real estate, I think I mentioned this last week. If you're in real estate, you can geofence properties. You can geofence a house. And so I talked about doing that with for sale by owners last week, but imagine you find a property that's been on the market for 180 days. That person might be frustrated. You're a real estate agent and there's a property that's been on the market for 180 days. That person might be frustrated with their agent. And 180 days, they're probably outside of a contractual period with that agent. So you could geofence that house and you could say, has your house been on the market for 6 months and you're not getting the sale that you were hoping for? Maybe it's not your house. Maybe it's your agent. Why don't you give me a call and we can run an analysis? So then what you do is you're a real estate agent. You can figure this out, find all the homes that have been on the market for more than 100 days, 150 days, right? Draw the little geofence around them and then put that exact ad in front of those people. You do that and you're going to get some very interesting clients. You'll get some very, very interesting clients when you do it that way. That's account-based marketing. That's targeting the exact person you wish to work for. So when I look at my own marketing, I've got in one channel, I've got about, I don't know, a couple thousand really, really active people that aren't clients. Another channel, I've got about almost 6,000 really engaged people that aren't clients. And then one more channel, I've got about, I think my LinkedIn, I've got about on my LinkedIn newsletter, I don't know, a couple thousand. I could really filter those people, find the people that are exactly right for my mastermind. And I could just reach out to them and say, look, I'm not going to try to sell to you. I've got this. I think it's right for you. If it's compelling to you, let's talk. There's my big sales pitch. I've got this really cool thing, works great for a lot of people. And people that come into this tend to stay forever. I started one 4 years ago. People that are in there, most of them have been there for 4 years. You want to check it out? Like that simple. You don't have to do this really complex sales pitch. You don't have to try to trick anybody, which I think is a lot of marketing now is just trying to trick people at all levels, trying to trick people. I don't want to trick anybody. I just want to help them. I want to help people grow their businesses. And so you look at, I've got some people in the mastermind who have grown to 60, 70, 80, over $100,000 a month. But they do the work and they show up on the meetings, they show up on the calls and they listen and they implement. So, people all the time, I'm getting best month ever. Just had my best month. Just had my best month. I got a really cool message from somebody the other day. Wonder if I clipped that. I don't think I clipped it. I should have clipped it. I should have clipped it to save it. I'm sure I have it in a chat somewhere. Somebody messaged me the other day. She was a client of mine, a private client of mine in 2006. However long ago that was. That's a long time ago, isn't it? It's like 18 years ago. She messaged me and she said, I still consider myself the earliest adopter of the Prouty methodology. And she's just wildly successful in what she does. So when you have something that works, you don't really have to try to trick anybody. You just offer it up. So account-based marketing in my approach would be reaching out to the right people and saying, hey, I got this. I think it's right for you. If you want more information on it, I'd love to share it with you. If you don't, that's cool too. I'm not going to try to sell it to anybody. But as mentioned earlier, I am going to start to filter the people who come in because I want to get the right people in here, get the right mix of people. There's a dude in one of the masterminds. This guy is like so perfect. He's like so perfect for it. He just joined recently. But I talked to him on a call. I was like, he is absolutely perfect for it. So I love it when that happens, when people like that come in. In a private message, somebody says, how do I know which mastermind is right for me? Well, there's really only one that's right for you at first. And that's going to be the entry-level mastermind. You've got to be doing like a couple $1,000s a month to be right for that. You can come in if you're not doing anything, if you're just starting. but there's one dude in there who wasn't just starting, and he always talks about how it was like just with the information, and he loves it, but some people might find it overwhelming. But if you've started your business, you've proven that people want what you have to sell, that's the one that's right for you. The other one is the bigger one, the bigger mastermind. You've got to be doing like 20K a month for that one to be right for you, because we get extremely serious in there. But the other one, you could have just started, as long as you've got something proven that people want to buy, and be very successful in there. People have come into that one and they've reached 500,000 a year very, very readily, as long as they do the work. But somebody asked for the whole point of this was clarification on account-based marketing, and account-based marketing is you're picking the targets and you're doing the right things for them. Now, you don't have to geofence, but it does involve a lot of direct reach out, and it might even involve doing things offline. If you find that you're marketing to a geography, like let's imagine you live in like Cincinnati, and you find that you've got 5 really, really good potential clients that are all nearby. Oh, you know what? I don't want to give this one away. This is a private client who just did this. I recommended this 3 weeks ago. She did it this week. I'll still use Cincinnati because I don't even want to say where this private client is. You figure out, like, do these people all go to like a club or an organization or a networking meeting or a meetup, or do they belong to the same golf club? And you go and you join so that you can be in their presence. I don't want to say the club. This woman's in a large metropolis, and she found that her primary prospects, the ones that she was targeting through account-based marketing, all belonged to this one organization. They all were part of this one, like, call it a club. And they all go and network at this thing. So she joined that club. And the first day that she went, absolutely introduced to every member there. So now she is known to her exact right prospects. There are some really sophisticated ways of doing this. What activities do you find 10 perfect prospects, and now look at their psychographics. Where do they go? Where do they socialize? What kind of car do they drive? What kind of restaurants do they go to? You figure that kind of stuff out, and you build commonality. You build that commonality. So account-based marketing, lots of really cool ways of doing it. All right, let me look around and see if there's any other questions queued up. Or if you have a topic that you want me to talk about, you can pop it into any of the chats. Hey, everybody on YouTube, thank you for being here. Especially if you're in Pakistan and it's 9:35 in the evening on a Friday night. Thanks for being here and hanging out. Just checking through all the chats, making sure I'm not missing any questions. Somebody says, what software do you use to edit your videos? That's a great question. Let me show you. Actually, I'm actually editing a video right now. Let me open up this software and show you. I'm using a software called DaVinci. Let me open it up, and I will open up the video that I'm editing. And I'll share it with you, and I'll show you. All right, here we go. So when I edit my own videos, and I know a lot of you people who are watching this message me and they're like, let me edit your videos. Let me edit your videos. Here's the deal with getting other people to edit my videos. I can edit a video. I can edit like a 10-minute video from, say, 30 minutes of raw footage. I can take 30 minutes of raw footage, edit it to a 10-minute video faster than I could Dropbox you or Google Drive you the 30 minutes of raw video. I can just do it faster than that. So working with anybody to edit my videos doesn't introduce a time efficiency for me. In fact, it becomes a time suck. It becomes time inefficient because it takes me longer to get you the video. Then I have to wait for a proof. Then I have to tell you the changes I want. Then I have to wait for the change to happen, then download it. That is very time inefficient for me. But that's because I can edit very rapidly because I learned how. So I'm using DaVinci Resolve for this. So this is my screen share. I'm going to share my screen. This is DaVinci Resolve. You can use DaVinci Resolve for free. You can get this for free. It's missing some features that I use. So I paid for the paid version, but the free version is super effective. So you have your footage bin right here. Okay, so this is my raw footage of me talking, doing my thing. You see that on YouTube all the time. And somebody says I'm watching your video workflow in the membership area, and I need guidance so this topic is timely. Well, you're in the inner circle, so why don't we do this? Like, why don't we really do this? Like on a Thursday call, like really, really get into this. We can do that. So my media is here. There's my raw footage. And then I bring it here into my cut. And this is where I do my raw cuts. Okay, and you can see I got some text overlays in there. That's because I'm already in production on this one. But here I'm just, you can see down here, you can see I'm just cutting from clip to clip. I'm cutting out the dumb stuff, like where I make a mistake. Thank you very much. Somebody says my video game is super high quality. Well, it took a long time to get there. It started off being not. And I just tried to improve one little thing at a time. And what I love about this is it's like, this is right out of camera. I didn't have to do any adjustments on this. It took a long time. It took 2 years to get to this point. So this is where I just do my raw cuts of my footage down here in cut. Then I go to edit here. And in my edit window, I can zoom out and zoom in. And I can, this is where I add my titles. So like here, this is a title, the title frame for this video. Let me just move my screen stuff around so I can see, move the zoom stuff away. So you can see here, like this is a title, and you can see it here on the screen, and then you can see the text that goes there, right there. So that's a title. And then this is a title as well. Move the playhead there. Okay, so that's a title as well. Now, clearly, that's over my face. So what I'm going to have to do is click on that video segment. Just moving stuff around. I'm going to click on that video segment. I'm going to have to move myself over here like that. And then zoom in just a little bit to get rid of the black on the right, and now move it down. Oh my gosh, that's a really big face. That's a really big face. Making duck face too. Do you see that? Maybe not too bad. Might be okay. I could shrink it, and I think I'd still be okay if I shrunk it just a little bit. Yeah, probably, maybe right there. And then bring it up just a little bit. There. So now you can see what happens there is, yeah, that's still not terribly clean. So I got to do some work on that. But that's okay. And so I'm just adding titles and adjusting my footage accordingly. Like here, watch this. Here I go from one clip to another. There's this cool radial feature that I can just put right here between the two. And it spins me from one to another. There's a little transition. Whoop, like that. Easy to do. Whoop. It doesn't make that noise. I made that noise with my mouth. I don't know if you heard me do that. Whoop, like that. I made that noise. And then I could spin to a zoom in. I could just zoom this in just a little bit. Like that. So now it spins to a zoom in. Whoop. So I'm using DaVinci Resolve to do this. And it's It's super, super fast for me. I can get this done like really fast. So you guys in the inner circle, if you want to see the entire workflow, I will do that for you on a Thursday call. I don't think I have anything queued up for this coming Thursday call, so I'll put that in the queue. Let's go back over to YouTube, make sure I'm not missing anything over there. All right. YouTube looks good. My screen feels really bright. Oh yeah, for some reason my screen got really bright. All right, and so now I'm going to also watch in the chat, see if there are any other questions. Somebody says, how big can you grow a business without paying for ads? So there's a lot of dependencies to growing a business without paying for ads. There are a lot of dependencies. The first dependency is your lifetime value of a client. So you have to understand how much revenue you can generate from one client over, I like to say over the course of a year. Over 12 months, what is the average amount of money that you can generate from a single client? So that's the first thing we need to know is LTV. Here, let's type this out, shall we? Let's take some notes on this. And I'll share my notes with you. Okay, so here we are. So the question is, how much can you make without paying for ads? And that's a fantastic question. Because I think a lot of people are hesitant to pay for ads. I used to be years and years and years ago until I started paying for them. And then it was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. But it doesn't make a lot of sense for some people. And some people just want to start out. So the first thing that I want you to understand is what is your average LTV? That's lifetime value of a client. So how can you figure your LTV out? One way to figure it out is look at gross revenue for a year. Okay, and then divide it by number of clients that year. Okay, so there's a really rough formula for you. Okay, look at your gross revenue, gross year revenue for 2023, and then number of clients that you had in 2023. You divide one by the other. So if you made 70,000 in 2023 and you had 125 clients, your LTV is 70,000 divided by 125 is about 560. Okay, so that's an important number to know no matter what. Okay, so the first thing we need to know is what's your LTV? What's the lifetime value of a client over the course of, I say over the course of 12 months. And so if you did $70,000 last year and you had 125 paying clients, then your average LTV is 560 bucks. Very, very simple, very rough, as my dog would say. Then you have to understand your close rate. In other words, if you have 20 calls, how many clients do you get? What's a good close rate? 100% is a good close rate, but it's not realistic. My close rate is 80%. So if I have 10 calls, if I have 20 calls, I'll get 16 clients. My close rate's about 80% on the call, cash collected. But I don't really do calls. I haven't really done calls for a while. I'm going to start doing more calls because I'm going to start handpicking the people that come into my programs as opposed to just letting everybody in. So I'll start doing calls again. So I'm closing at 80%, but what is your close rate? I think a respectable close rate is 40%. Okay, 40% is respectable. 4 out of 10 clients or 8 out of 20. So 40% is respectable. Okay, so that's the second thing that we need to know. So how do you calculate this? You calculate this by looking at number of calls you had. I'm sorry, no, it's number of clients divided by number of calls. So in this case, you would have needed 312 calls to get 125 clients. Okay, so now we need to understand that. So we need to understand that if your close rate is 40% and you're looking to earn $70,000, which is a respectable amount to earn in a year for somebody who's, an entrepreneur, that's equivalent to a $70,000 a year as an entrepreneur is equivalent to about $110,000 a year as a W-2 employee, if you do your taxes right. You got to do your taxes right. And by right, I mean legally right, but still right. Okay, so what does this do for us? This tells us how many calls we need to have to hit our target revenue. So now we know our LTV. Hey, listen, I know you didn't show up here expecting to do math today, but we are doing math today. So you know your LTV, you know the number of calls you need to hit a revenue target. And so then let's just expand this. Let's say you wish to make 100,000 a year. How many clients do you need? Well, that's 100,000 divided by 560. That's your LTV equals, anybody do it? You need 100 and call it 180 clients. So you need 180 clients. And if you close at 40%, how many calls do you need? Well, that is 180 divided by 40%, call it 0.4, equals, you need 450 calls. Okay? So you need 450 calls at a 40% close to make 100,000 based on an LTV, a lifetime value of a client of 560. So then the question becomes, and by the way, so now let's really get clear on this. How many calls a week? Well, let's imagine that you take 2 weeks off a year and you don't do any calls. So then that's 450 divided by 50. So that's 9 calls a week. Now we're getting somewhere. You wake up Sunday morning with your week ahead of you, and you say to yourself, if I want to earn $100,000 this year, I need to do 9 calls this week. And to tell you how powerful this is, I have a private client that I'm working with right now where we just did this. And for her or him to earn, this is private client. We're looking to crack $1 million this year. The LTV of their client is 20 grand, and they need to do, and they're closing at 50%. So that's 6 calls per week. When I said that to them, I was like, you need to do 6 calls per week. You can get 6 calls per week with your average LTV, which is 20 grand. You're at $1 million. You're going to make $1 million this year. And I think that was for the remainder of the year. That's not even the full year. So for you, in this example, your LTV is 560 and you're closing at 40%. You need 450 calls. That's 9 calls per week with 2 weeks off. So now here is the question. The question is, let me shrink this a little bit so I can get it all on one screen. The question is this. It's 2.5 calls a day, or try to get all your calls like in 2 days. Like have Wednesday and Thursday, or Monday and Tuesday, or Thursday and Friday be your call days. And do 5 one day and 4 the next day. Just stack up those calls. There's a lot of energy in doing multiple sales calls on one day. You just get your close rate will go up. The question is, can you organize your social media to get 9 calls a week? The answer to that, by the way, is yes. That's the spoiler. Even in my inner circle mastermind, which is just a couple of bucks a day. If you want information on that, by the way, it's prouty.me. See if you're right for it. I'll tell you if you're coming in. You don't tell me if you're coming in. I'll tell you if you're coming in. We are really going to be very, very picky about who we let into this thing now, because we're spinning and we're doing some crazy stuff in there, like crazy stuff. The secret classes that we're doing, we're doing sprints. I'm doing the work with people. Like I'm now gonna really dial in who comes into this thing. If you think it's you, just jump on Prouty.me. We'll find out real quick. I'll find out inside of 3 questions if it's right for you. And the first question is, do you collect information or do you implement information? Only one person gets in. You'll figure out who it is. So the question is, can you get 9 calls per week using organic social media? And the answer is absolutely yes. Somebody said, I just had a thought. Can I put this in the queue for next week? Yeah, type it now so I see it, and we'll talk about it on Thursday. But type it so I see it, and then I will set a reminder as well. But please do put it in the queue for next week. So the question is, can you organize social media, get 9 calls per week? Absolutely can. You absolutely can. And that would be 9 calls per week, 50% close, $560 LTV. Means you get 180 clients for the next 12 months, and you make 6 figures. So then your question is, how do I optimize this? Because I've just laid out all the first principles for you, all the building blocks. How do you optimize this? Let's do a spreadsheet. Yeah? I don't want you to see my Google Drive, so I'm just going to close it, and then I'm going to make a new spreadsheet. Let's do a spreadsheet. I'm going to show you how to optimize this. You're going to love this in the last 5 minutes that we had together. You're going to love this. If you came today and you're watching this, you are in real, this will be the game changer for you. Ready? LTV, close rate, number of calls, needed, number of clients, needed calls, netted. Like Ned Stark, poor guy. Needed calls. That's kind of bad grammar. I don't even know what that would be. Needed calls. What else? We got the LTV, we got the number of clients, we got the number of calls. We can do calls per week. Okay, so let's do this. So your LTV is 560. Your close rate is 40%. Oh, let's do target revenue. Target revenue. Your target revenue is 100,000. So the number of clients that you need to make 100,000 equals this divided by this. Okay. I'm not going to do any rounding because we're approaching the top of the hour. Now, if your the number of calls you need is equal to this divided by your close rate. Okay, so that's the number of calls you need. And then the number of calls per week equals this divided by 50. All right. Squint your eyes, and I don't know how to quick. Oh, maybe I can just do this. Is there? Yeah, I can do this. Watch this. There. Okay, there we go. I'm going to do a screenshot of that question that just came in. Okay, I screenshot that. It's in queue for Thursday. Thank you. So how do we optimize this? Right? How do we optimize this? What if I don't want to do 9 calls per week? Look at my decimal thing. I got to change this. So my close rate's 40%. Oh, you know what I'll do? Hold on. Sorry, guys. Let's just do this. That, and then I'll do these to round all these. Hold on. Stay with me. Stay with me. I'm going to open up something really wild for you. So let me just do this. There, better. And these are dollars. Not that. Holding the wrong key down to select multiple things. These are dollars. I love what you just said. Somebody on the Zoom just said, since there are 9 days in the work week, it's only 1 call a day. That is how we roll in here. All right. Your lifetime value is 560. Close rate's 40%. Target revenue is $100,000. Number of clients needed is 179. That means you need 446 calls or 9 calls per week. So watch this. What if you just got a little bit better? Hey, I'm going to show you how to not do any more work and make a lot more money. What if you got better at closing? What if you could just get a little bit better? What if you closed 60%? Okay. What if you could close 60%? Now you only need 6 calls per week. Yeah. And what if your LTV, what if you could increase your LTV even just a little bit? What if you could increase it to 750? What if you could just sell a little bit more to these people? Now you only need 4 calls per week. Somebody just wrote in all capital letters. I'm going to copy and paste it. Somebody just wrote, I'm going to copy and paste this. Somebody on the Zoom just wrote this. That's not it. I can't copy and paste it. Somebody just wrote this in the Zoom chat in all caps. That's it right there. Somebody just wrote that in the Zoom chat, right? So if you can increase your close rate to 60% and you can increase your LTV to 750, now you only need 4 calls per week. Do you know how easy it is to get 4 calls per week from social media? Like, it takes nothing. It takes nothing to get 4 calls per week from social media. Nothing. You can do that so easily. Hey, what if you really worked at this? Like, what if you spent a Saturday hanging around going, what else could I sell to people? How could I increase value to charge them a little bit more? What if you got to $997 here? Oh, guys, now you're at 3 calls per week. But guess what? Guess what? What if you busted your butt and you did 9 calls per week? What if you did 9 calls per week and you closed at 60%? Equals 9 calls per week times 60% times 50. That's 270 clients. What if you busted your butt and you did the 9 calls per week? Now that's 270 clients. So now, and you increased the LTV to 997. Now what's your target revenue? Oh, oh. So maybe almost tripling a business is beyond your mental grasp. So let's just go back here to the 560. Well, now you've gotten a 50% raise. Or what if you did the 750? What if you could get it to 750? Now, just by increasing our LTV and tweaking our close rate, yeah, you're right. You're right. A lot. Just by increasing our LTV, playing around with our close rate, and keeping the 9 calls per week, we've doubled revenue. And it can all, the original question was, how much can you make without paying for ads? I mean, we got some people here that have been here for a while. You know it's possible. It's possible. But you got to know your numbers. It's one of the founding things that I do with my high level mastermind and with my private clients is we get to know the numbers. Like my private clients in my high level mastermind, they rattle this stuff off because we just do it all the time. We just do it all the time. Got to know your numbers. Once you know your numbers, you can start to tweak things pretty easily. I'm going to stop the YouTube and I'll say goodbye to you guys here on the Zoom. So YouTube, thank you so